Delighted to be joined now by Ross Clark. He's the author of numerous brilliant books, but in particular in relation to this topic, the author of Not Zero, How an Irrational Target Will Impoverish You, Help China and Won't Even Save the Planet. Very good afternoon to you, Ross.
Good afternoon, Julia.
Thank you for joining us. I love this story. Net Zero Crusader Ed Miliband, it turns out, I know we're all shocked by this, has a carbon footprint 12 times higher than the average Briton because, of course, he takes so many flights in his job as Net Zero and Energy Security Secretary. He has racked up at least 44,600 air miles in the job just since last July. I mean, you'd think he was the Foreign Secretary or something, wouldn't you? Way more than the average Brit. But bearing in mind, this is a man who has called on Brits to fly less to save the planet. So what a surprise. Another green hypocrite.
Yeah, it's one rule for him, one rule for the rest of us, isn't it? I mean,
always is.
Okay, say he had to fly to the COP29 climate summit in Baku.
I mean, rather him than us, eh? Rather him than us.
You could hold it. Why you can't hold it by Zoom, I don't know, because most of us have Zoom meetings all the time. But not only did he attend that summit, he also beforehand and sort of preparations, he flew to Brazil, he flew to New York, and he flew to Washington, all for sort of meetings leading up to that conference, which he could surely have held online. And in doing so, he's ratcheted up this 44,000 air miles. And if you sort of work that out, I went on to a website called myclimate.org, which works out your carbon footprint for you if you say where you flew and what class you flew in. Assuming he flew business class,
yeah.
I mean,
which is worse for the planet.
He would certainly have flown business class. His flights alone would have emitted 12 times as much carbon dioxide as the average Briton.
But he, like the Sadiq Khans and others who were all signed up to this sort of cities. Was it Cities 50 or there's some cities project? Basically all signed up to this project. And they basically, and again, all the net zero advice from the Climate Change Committee, the government's official, supposedly laughably independent committee of advisors, most of whom, by the way, have no qualifications in this field whatsoever. I'm not sure a classics degree qualifies you to do this, but apparently it does if you're the chair of that committee. That basically, they are saying that we're not going to hit the target, this is 2050 target, unless we limit people's use of cars, limit people's flights, limit people probably to realistically, one return, Europe flight a year. They actually openly talk about having that much control on us, but obviously all of these people assume, well, that will just be for us little people. They'll be able to carry on flying.
Yes, I'm sure they will be. There's actually a group called, even worse than the Climate Change Committee, there's a group called UK FIRES, FIRES, which are a bunch of academics who are sort of advising the government on reaching this net zero target. And I mean, they published a report a few years ago quite openly calling for a dramatic contraction of the airline industry, saying there's no way that this industry could is compatible with the 2050 net zero target. People will have to be discouraged from flying and stopped from flying. So I mean, that's where the sort of
and we know that's what they want to do. We know that they don't again, I've said it quite a few times on the show, they say the quiet bit out loud. That is what is required. These are the same people, by the way, who don't like to mention the issue of net zero when it comes to things like saving our steelworks, or which bizarrely, we had, Ed Miliband among those people saying, yes, totally supporting saving the steelworks, when we know the reason why these steelworks at Scunthorpe needed to be saved was because the Chinese company that owned them couldn't make money on them because of our massively high energy costs, which are almost directly a result of net zero policies.
Yeah, we have the highest commercial electricity prices of any member country of the International Energy Agency. But it gets worse. I mean, the governments have spent the last 48 hours scrabbling around the world to find some coking coal to, keep these blast furnaces in Scunthorpe alight. And if they go cool, that's the end of them, basically. Yeah. But, if you listeners with longer memories may remember that there was going to be a coal mine in Cumbria, which was going to mine coking coal for the steel industry. And Ed Miliband, well, the previous government sort of pretty well failed to support it, but then it was Ed Miliband finally finished it off by failing to support it after the promoters lost a High Court case brought by environmental activists. And so, you know, we've managed to miss out on this supply of local coking coal, which could have kept the Scunthorpe works.
Which actually, as my guest Sam Armstrong pointed out, you know, we just import from the other side of the world instead.
We do, and one of Ed Miliband's reasons for sort of turning against this coal mine was he said, well, 85% of it would be exported. Well, what on earth is wrong with exports? We could do with a few more exports. Look at our balance of payments. Look at the, you know, the world as it currently is with trade wars and so on.
It is utterly bizarre. I tell you what, though, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I don't think Ed Miliband's lasts another year in this government. He's going to be used as a scapegoat, but people always criticise Ed Miliband for a lot of these policies, you know, but actually it was the Tories for years, Labour, Lib Dems, they were all signed up to this, and Keir Starmer is completely signed up to this too, because unless you do the basic maths on this and you realise how insane it is. Ross Clark, great to talk to you, author of Not Zero. Thank you very much indeed. Just a quick word from Sam Armstrong on this. I mean, again, green hypocrites, what a surprise. Like these Just Stop Oil protests. Go, save the planet, save the planet. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to leave this protest. I've now got to go on my half-term ski trip.
Look, but it's a great lifestyle.
Isn't it?
And you've got great career prospects when you finish. You finish up there, you're on the international scene, you get taken on by one of these companies that's making a fortune out of it. You can sit on a few boards.
A lot of travel.
You can retire well. Look, Julia, how about it? You and I give this all up, get into the green business, we'll make an awful lot more money.
Or I can basically sort of say sorry. I can say I've got it all wrong. I now want to save the planet, and I believe that this is the way to do it. I'll be on all the conferences. I'm travelling around. I wouldn't do them by Zoom. If you have a conference in the Bahamas, I'm turning up.